There is a phrase that I have heard a number of times over the last number of days, maybe a week or so, and I'm sure many of you have heard it also. And that phrase is the church is going to be closed for Easter, kind of lamenting that. I want to say that I don't think anything is further from the truth. Now, admittedly, church buildings, for the most part, are going to be closed on Resurrection Sunday, Easter Sunday, if you like. There's no doubt about that. But that is a far thing from saying that the church is going to be closed. In fact, I would say the church is doing very well. Church is alive and well. It's a passage of Scripture which is very familiar to many of you if you're students of the Scripture at all. And that is in Matthew chapter 16, and many of you probably already know where I'm going with this. And I'd like to read verses 13 through 18 of Matthew 16. This is what it says. Jesus has just traveled to a place called Caesarea Philippi with his disciples. Now, when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he was asking his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, and others Elijah, but still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus said to him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah," or Simon son of John, "because flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. I also say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overpower it." Jesus is the Lord of the church. Jesus is the originator of the church. The church is Jesus' idea. Jesus sustains the church. Church is not closed. Church is open. Church is operating. Church is ministering. In fact, when I hear that phrase, I'm often reminded of the rather humorous anecdote. I'm sure you're familiar with it. When Mark Twain was traveling in Europe, and an American newspaper printed his obituary, and you remember he responded to that by saying, "The reports of my death are greatly exaggerated." I would say the same thing about the church. Church is doing great. In fact, I'll even go so far as to say, and I've said it before, I believe these days that we're going through, these are the church's finest hour. The church is, during this time, and having to find creative and unique ways to do it. But the church during this time is providing hope. The church is providing help. The church is providing emotional and spiritual healing during this time. In fact, I'm going to suggest, and I don't think it'll come as any surprise, that there are going to be more people confronted with the message of the risen Christ this weekend as we approach Resurrection Sunday, Easter Sunday, and churches are online, and churches are getting the message out in so many different ways. There are going to be more people confronted with that message this weekend, I believe, than has been the case for a very, very long time. See, the message of Christ is going to go forth, and the church is going to be the church. And a mere virus isn't going to shut that down. In fact, it's rather humorous in a sense. I don't know if maybe I should use the word ironic there, that church history tells us about the numerous totalitarian governments that have attempted not just shut down the church, literally stamp out the gospel, do permanent damage to it. And of course, what we've seen out of that is the exponential growth of the church every time. No, the church is doing great. And the church is being the church. In fact, what we have seen during these I'm going to say over this last 3 weeks to a month, what we have seen in these unprecedented days is the church being the church in unprecedented ways. I just pray it continues. I believe it will. And I just pray that the Lord bless you richly today.